Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Newsbrowse News broadcast. According to a report by the Liberty Times, a senior Iranian military official warned that a military conflict between Iran and the United States has become inevitable due to a complete stalemate in negotiations aimed at ending hostilities in the Middle East. Mohammad Jafar Asadi, the deputy commander of Iran's Central Military Command, stated that the U.S. has demanded Iran's total surrender, which the Iranian people will never accept. Consequently, he declared that war is now unavoidable. This stark warning comes immediately after a series of direct military escalations between the two nations. On May 31st, the U.S. military conducted airstrikes in southern Iran, targeting air defense facilities and control stations in response to Iran shooting down a U.S. MQ-1 Predator drone. In retaliation, Iran launched ballistic missiles and drones at a U.S. military base in Kuwait on June 1. Although Kuwaiti and U.S. air defenses successfully intercepted the incoming threats with no reported U.S. casualties, the exchange has severely heightened regional tensions and cast a dark shadow over any remaining diplomatic paths to peace. According to a report by NBC News, Taiwan's presidential office announced on Friday that it has not received any official information from the United States regarding a pause or adjustment in military sales. This statement comes after acting U.S. Navy Secretary Hung Tsao suggested during a Senate subcommittee hearing that the U.S. is pausing foreign military sales, including those to Taiwan, to ensure it has sufficient munitions for its operations against Iran, referred to as Epic Fury. Despite the suggested pause, Tsao noted that sales would resume when deemed necessary by the administration. Taiwan is currently waiting for the U.S. to approve a new arms package potentially worth up to $14 billion. However, U.S. President Donald Trump recently expressed indecision on whether to greenlight the deal following his summit with Chinese President Xi Jinping. While Washington is legally bound to provide Taiwan with defensive means, Beijing has repeatedly demanded an end to these sales. A spokesperson for Taiwan's presidential office reiterated that only Taiwan's 23 million citizens can decide the island's future, rejecting China's sovereignty claims. According to a report by Lianhe Xiaobao, the European Union is planning to impose strict standards on cloud computing services for highly critical government procurement tenders. This policy could impact sensitive sectors such as banking, energy, and healthcare, potentially excluding major U.S. tech giants including Amazon, Microsoft, and Google. The initiative is part of the upcoming Cloud and AI Development Act to be unveiled by Henna Virkkunen, the European Commission's Vice President for Tech Sovereignty and Security. The legislation aims to bolster European tech firms and reduce the bloc's dependency on American technology. Under the proposed rules, government tenders will feature mandatory non-price evaluation criteria, giving preference to hardware and software developed within the EU. Other criteria will assess data protection levels, foreign control over service providers, and market reciprocity. Currently, Amazon, Microsoft, and Google dominate over 60% of the global cloud market. The EU's move is also driven by concerns over the U.S. Cloud Act, which permits U.S. law enforcement to access overseas data. The draft bill must be approved by the 27 EU member states and the European Parliament, and is expected to face strong resistance from Washington. According to a report by the Liberty Times, U.S. export restrictions on advanced AI chips are showing tangible effects in curbing China's technological development. Researchers at Vanderbilt University analyzed over 100,000 leaked documents and discovered that a Chinese surveillance company, Geech Networks, faced significant obstacles while developing next-generation predictive surveillance systems. The company was trying to utilize artificial intelligence to analyze location data, communication records, and online activity to build behavioral profiles of individuals. However, following the tightening of U.S. restrictions on high-end GPUs in 2024, the research team suffered from a severe lack of computing power. Consequently, Gauge Networks was forced to downgrade its project, relying on older and less efficient AI models and hardware. Experts note that while China possesses enough processing power for its current basic surveillance products, next-generation predictive systems that process massive, real-time data will be heavily bottlenecked by these chip shortages. Although there is no evidence yet that these advanced predictive systems have been deployed, the findings highlight how the US-China AI rivalry is intensely shaping the future of digital surveillance. According to NHK, Malaysian Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim is set to visit Japan next week for a 3-day trip beginning June 8th. During his visit, Prime Minister Anwar will hold official talks with Japanese Prime Minister Takaichi Sanae. The two leaders are expected to use this meeting to discuss pressing global issues, including the current situation in the Middle East. Furthermore, they intend to reinforce cooperation across various sectors, particularly in the fields of security and the economy. Japanese Chief Cabinet Secretary Kihara Minoru noted that Japan and Malaysia share fundamental values as comprehensive strategic partners. He emphasized that strengthening these bilateral ties is crucial for the development of a free and open Indo-Pacific. This upcoming meeting marks the first high-level engagement between the two leaders since October, following Prime Minister Takaichi's previous visit to Kuala Lumpur shortly after taking office. That's all for this video. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video.